in Eastvale.
Where?
Eastvale?
Eastvale?
Yeah, it's like right below Ontario.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Right on. Well, I'm here with my editor, Tim. Tony, Tim. He's going to do
What's
the
up,
interview.
Deb?
What up, man?
What's up, buddy?
I'm super excited. Out of all the interviews I've done, man, this is the true mark-out moment for me.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I remember I've seen you guys in concert a few times, and it was always a good experience.
That's right. Awesome, man.
So thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
For sure.
And we're just gonna, we have a couple questions that we asked. We're trying to put a tribute magazine together for this next issue for the Warped Tour, for its final year, and we want to get as many of the greatest to contribute to it, and definitely you're one of them.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that.
All right. The first question is, what is your favorite Warped Tour memory that you hold to yourself?
For me, that's pretty easy. We played in 03, and it was the Chicago date, and Lars Frederick came out, Lars Branson came out and played Rooftops with us, and then during their set, I went out and played and sang the second verse of Radio, which was like, one of my iconic punk rock songs growing up. So that was definitely the highlight of my, I have a lot of great memories from Warped Tour, obviously, but that would definitely, a kid who grew up listening to Rancid and all that stuff, to be on stage singing with them and to have Lars come out and play a song with us, it was pretty iconic.
That's awesome. When you guys are, not on stage and the show's not going on, is there a lot of opportunities for jamming?
You mean like on tour?
Yeah, on tour.
Not really.
No.
One, we were never really the dudes that got together and jammed. We're not like that band. It was more like I would start writing songs, and then once I had a pretty good structure down, and bring it to the rest of the band and sort of, finish it. But on tour, it's like, bus to venue, venue to bus sort of thing. It's not really, unless you're at the status of a band where you're playing fucking amphitheaters and you each got your own dressing room and then a separate room where your practice gear is set up and shit like that, it's like, but we're not that band. So, definitely just a lot of hanging out and a lot of boredom. And I think that's where a lot of the drinking comes into play for every band.
For sure. What has the Warped Tour meant to you?
Fuck, man. The Warped Tour for me, as a musician and a fan, was everything. It was the tour that I was going. I started going, I think, in '96. I want to say '96 or '97, and I would go every year. And before we were on it, I would go with a book bag full of CDs and hawk CDs to every band that I knew, and try to meet every band that I liked. And it was the one show of the summer that was like, you were just looking forward to that day. It was, you got to see every band. I was, a fucking pretty gnarly concert goer as a kid, obviously being a musician. So you'd go to a lot of concerts throughout the year, but when you go to Warped Tour, and this was back in the day when Warped Tour was more of just a punk rock festival, you would see every band that you liked in one day and discover new bands and shit, and it was just like, and going in the early years as a fan, it was like that day where you go and you sort of like, you're like there. For me, I was like there, like manifesting in a way, because it's what I wanted to do so much. And it was like, I was living vicariously through all the other bands at the time when I was a kid. And then when the band started to become bigger and started playing shows and stuff, and then when we played Warped Tour, that was just a dream come true. It was literally the one tour that I said, and I was quoted in interviews as saying this, where I was like, I could die the day Warped Tour ended, that we were on it, and I would have fulfilled like my dream. Like that was it. That was my iconic dream, was like being in a band, being signed, putting out records, and playing main stage on Warped Tour. And then I almost did because of my back injuries and shit. I literally almost predicted my death. Like, I had emergency surgery August 3rd, and the doctor said I had about 7 days left to live. Warped Tour had technically ended August 10th, which would have been 7 days later had I not had that surgery. So, but yeah, I mean, Warped Tour was everything to me, from a fan point of view, and then from being, you know, a working musician.
What happened with the back injury?
Long story short, it was a herniated disc that I had surgery on to have the disc shaved off. Went on Warped Tour a couple weeks later, which you're supposed to have a couple months recovery. Fucked it up more on Warped Tour. It turned into a staph infection that entered my spine, which was then going up to my brain. Had it hit my brain, I would have either been paralyzed, because it would have like killed the nerves in my spine, or I would have just dropped dead, is what I was told.
Holy fuck. Yeah, I have 2 herniated discs in my back, in my T5 and T6. Do I need to worry about something?
What was that?
I have 2 herniated discs in my T5 and T6. Do I need to be worried?
I wouldn't. Okay, so my recommendation is avoid surgery for as long as you can.
Okay,
and
yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm
physical
scared for that shit.
Yeah, go to physical therapy and just try to get because there's exercises in physical therapy you can do to get the disc to go back in, and then that's sort of self-healing. If you go and do surgery, it's instant relief because you have that disc shaved off, and it's not then bulging and touching the nerves, which gives you the sciatic leg pain that I'm sure you're getting.
Yeah.
But to heal it without surgery, you're good again. But if you do surgery, you run the risk of the shit that I went through. And I mean, there's just, you know, a lot of risk within surgery, and there's no turning back. Once you start surgery, then, you know, because I've had 2 surgeries so far. I actually have a doctor's appointment next Tuesday to get an update, get an MRI done to see what else I can get done. That's with one doctor, and then I have another doctor I go to for pain management, and they want to shove these fucking needles in my back, and then essentially a root canal on your spine where they burn the nerves in your lower back so that you just don't feel pain. But then I'm like worried about that because I'm pretty active still, and I feel like if I fuck around and get those nerves killed, I'm not going to feel pain of anything I'm doing, which means I won't be restricting myself, which I could then be doing further damage. So it's, you know, it's just a fucking mess.
Yeah, I was in the service when that happened. I was in the military, and I got fucked up. And these guys, all they did was shove fucking Vicodin down my throat. You know what I mean? Oh no, here's Vicodin. Oh, that's not working. How about some fucking Valium? How about, you know, everything, Percocet? And I'm like, oh shit. And after like 4 or 5 months of that, you know, I'm a full blown addict.
Yeah, that's the other thing you got to be careful with too. I mean, I go to pain management, and they give me pain medication, but I'm like very, very conscious of how much I'm taking. I'm very conscious of giving my body long breaks of it so that I don't feel the physical addiction, because there will be days where I'm in a lot of pain where I've taken a medication for a couple of days straight. And then I'll be laying in bed at night and I'm like, oh, I didn't take any pain medication today. And then it's like 2 a.m. and I wake up and I could feel that physical addiction.
Yeah.
And so, one way that I used to get over that is, by eating sugar, because it's an endorphin release in the body. So it sort of would kill that. So we get rid of it in a way. Mm-hmm. And then there's these, other pills that are non-narcotic pills that I have, that help with that to make sure that goes away. And then if that happens, I just taper myself off. I've had too many friends that have gone down that path the wrong way, where it's like just through partying alone. And I'm like, I don't ever want to be that guy. I'm a father of a 3.5-year-old son, and I have other things to live for and other things that matter in my life, where it's like, back in the day, before I even had back problems, of course, I'd party like a motherfucker and just take handfuls for fun. Yeah. But now it's like I'm an adult, and it's like I'm trying to just to keep control of my life and live like a normal life. So it's like pain medication is needed, but you have to ride that fine line of like making sure you don't fucking go down the wrong path. I mean, there was a doctor that switched me over to Oxycontin, and I took one pill of that, and this was like 3-4 years ago, and then I turned them back. I literally gave them all back to the doctor, and I was like, I'm not going to take the shit. I go, it's like fucking hillbilly heroin. I'm not doing it. And gave it back to him because I'm like, I'm not going down that path.
Do you ever,
Restaurant.
you know, how I don't use any of that shit no more. I just smoke a bunch of weed, and that, to me, that's the same effect, but there's no huge, like, when I say smoke a lot of weed, like, I'll take a couple bowls before I go to bed, you know, and I feel just as good. Do you ever rely on that?
I don't really smoke much pot. Again, I did when I was a kid growing up. I have used it I'm like an insomniac and shit. My brain doesn't stop working at night. So, my girlfriend had me try some shit, and it does help, but, I'm just like, I don't want to, it's the same thing with any sort of drug or drink or anything. Like, you build your tolerance to it. But I'm just too, like, I have a kid, and I don't get enough sleep as it is. And if I'm smoking pot, I'm a lazy fucking pot smoker. Like, when I smoke weed, all I want to do is fucking eat boxes of cereal and, like, do nothing. So, like, I can't. It's just one of those things that, like, I have a buddy who just rips bongs all day, and he's the most active person I know, and I'm like, good for you, but that's not me. I can't do that. Like, but I mean, it does help. It definitely helps. And, like, my parents smoke pot, and it helps with their pain and shit like that. So I think there's definitely the medical field and, like, medical uses for it and shit. But for me, man, I'm just a lazy fucking stoner.
All right, let me get back on track.
Sorry.
Where were you when you got the call? And you mentioned previously that you manifested this, right? You manifested your dream to be a part of this Warped Tour. So I'm sure that you know exactly where you were when you got the call, and talk me through that process and that time in your life.
So, you mean call to do Warped Tour?
Yes.
Fuck. I mean, I remember, because we were on a third record at that point. And, I mean, we knew, like, because we had just did a headlining tour, which was a pretty successful headlining tour, and we were at that status where we knew we meant something to the Warped Tour. It made sense for us to do it. Warner Brothers had a big campaign going that year with us, The Used, Story of the Year, Rancid. So that was a big part of, like, us getting on Warped Tour. Was it's all money, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot for Kevin to put on the Warped Tour with that many bands, feed that many bands, all that type of shit. So obviously labels that have money can, you know, get their bands on what they're investing into, what the advertising they're going to do, which means a lot to Warped Tour. And so I knew that we had a good chance of getting it. I can't remember the exact. We had a good 6 to 8 month notice and shit. A good manifesting story is getting the band signed, which when we were recording our first record, which was a DIY record that we were doing ourselves, I was like 16 or 17 years old. A big fan of the band Goldfinger, and I used to, on the way to the studio, and this was previous to John Feldman ever becoming an A&R guy or producing any bands at this point. But I used to have these sort of weird little fantasy manifesting things where I was going to the studio and John Feldman was going to be producing our band. Just a thought in my head. And I remember, like, walking down the street and thinking, like, wonder what it would be like to be walking down the street and have somebody notice me for just purely being in a band. And I remember, like, letting that feeling sort of overcome me and, like, feeling what it would feel like. And then literally, like, 2 years later, I got a phone call from John, and he was like, hey, I really like your demo and all that shit. And now, the weird part about it is, like, John wasn't producing bands or doing he wasn't in that world yet. He was just a singer of Goldfinger when I used to have these thoughts. So to randomly have everything turn out the exact way that I sort of played off in my head was the weirdest thing. That, like, this guy became a producer, became an A&R guy, got my band signed, produced my record. Like, it was fucking weird. And there was this other guy when we used to do the Warped Tour Battle of the Bands, where, like, you get, like, the first shitty opening slot of the day. We would play those every year. And I remember this one year where I thought we were going to win it. We did not. But I was sitting outside afterwards, probably pretty bummed out. But one of the judges came up to me afterwards and was like, "Hey, man, I just want you to know that I voted for you." And I was like, "Thanks, man. I appreciate that." He was like, "You guys are a great band and you write great songs." He goes, "Trust me." He goes, "These bands are going to play this little one date and that's going to be the end of it." He goes, "Trust me, in 3 years from now, you're going to be on the whole Warped Tour, on the main stage playing Warped Tour." And we always call him a fat angel because we don't know who this guy was. But literally 3 years later, we were on Warped Tour on the main stage. Like, fucking weird, man. But, yeah, that was just what it was. Story. Yeah, it was crazy, man.
Do you have any, like, what are you manifesting now?
I mean, fuck, it's just one of those things where every day I'm like, I mean, with the business being as shitty as it is now for rock bands,
yeah,
you just have to stay positive no matter what. And it's like, you know, we're definitely more of a DIY band these days. And like, you know, I put out 2 acoustic records on my own. I put out a record in 2013, a Mest record that I recorded with a couple different guys because I was writing songs and I was like, I want to put out a record, you know, and I put it out through a label in Japan and then put it out here in the States on my own. But it's more about not only manifesting and thinking positive, but about doing and just going, okay, if all these doors are going to close, I have to just open up a door myself. And if I open up this door and I start doing things and I start working and being productive on my own, then people attach on to that. A lot of people are fucking lazy in this business, and you can't just sit around and expect other people to make phone calls for you, expect people to get tours for you or get connections for you. And I mean, I have a manager, I have a booking agent, but you know, I'm going over to Mexico in August and then I'm touring in Europe, and I booked those on my own. I did that through connections to promoters that were fans of the band and reached out to me, and then I, you know, put these tours together myself, you know, and I sell merch out of the house. I work a lot on my own so that to create opportunities for myself. Because when people see you working and see your dedication, then, you know, they want to get on board with that. So these days it's not just about thinking as far as manifesting, but about sort of opening up and creating opportunities for yourself. And, you know, and it still works. I mean, I run into people that I know and haven't seen in years, and they know somebody that knows somebody that's like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Make some connections, make some phone calls, and, you know, the networking is very important in this business. And, you know, luckily we had a pretty good career through the early 2000s that through all those connections, and kids that were fans of the band are now working for labels or promoting or doing tours and stuff like that, where it's like you just use those sort of connections to keep working.
I used to fucking listen to you guys every fucking day when I was over in Iraq. Every
That's
fucking
awesome.
day, dude. And
that's awesome.
That's the only thing that got me fucking by. Because it reminded me of home, you know? And
yeah.
And after a while, you see the same old fuckers, and you're just tired of them. And I remember just, I don't know, it was, you guys are special to me, and you guys always will be. And,
that's awesome. That's the good thing about music, man.
I want nothing but the best for you guys, and if there's anything I can ever do to help you, you know, we have a magazine, we have a radio show, we have a television show. If there's anything ever, let Danielle know, and I will do whatever I can.
Hey Tony, we have Kevin has given us a stage at the Ventura show. Would you want to do your acoustic thing or something? I don't know if he asked you to play this year or not, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, we haven't been asked yet, and we're still pushing for it.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
you want to play our?
Cool.
I mean, I don't think there's any money in it, but I mean, we have a slot available if your whole band, or if you want to play.
I mean, more than likely, I'm going to be there anyway, so I mean, I could always do quick acoustic set. That could be fun.
Okay. Well, you want to do it? I mean, because we'll pencil you in if you want.
When is the date? It's coming up.
The 24th. It's a Sunday.
Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Awesome.
It'll be fun.
Cool. So, acoustic or the band? Just you, right?
Probably acoustic.
I mean, either one is fine.
I would have to do
Let me know.
acoustic with the guy. It's like flying 3 dudes out, and it's pretty costly.
Okay.
Costly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Perfect.
that's
Okay. Done.
Awesome.
Yay!
Awesome.
Thank you.
nice. Yeah, for sure. That'd be fun.
All right, and here's my last question. Do you have a message for Kevin?
A message for Kevin. Well, thank you for creating the best tour ever. Thank you for the opportunities that you gave my band and so many other bands, and for giving every kid that eventually turned into a musician or just fans in general that one day of the summer to sort of escape and go have the best day of the summer ever. And and hey, put us on work for this year. We want to play. I mean, I'm like writing a new record right now and shit, so that hopefully will be out late summer, early fall.
Fucking A. Hey, and when you guys are ready to do it, like, I just message Danielle and we'll reach out to your people and we'll give you some love in our magazine.
That'd be awesome. I would appreciate that for sure, man.
Tony, I appreciate it, man. I mean, we've talked to. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, and this is one of the ones that really mean. It's in my top 3 that mean the most to me. So thank you.
That's awesome to hear, man. That means a lot for real. I mean, that's rad. I mean, I'm a fan of music, so I understand. Like, there's those records, like you said, when you're over there in Iraq, and it's like you listen to this music because it sort of gives you that escape and brings you back to a time and place, and that's how it is for me, man. I put on a record, and it's the same thing. It's like I think of those times. And now when I'm writing songs, a lot of my songs are more of reminiscing of about those days and listening to music and your friends. And it's like they always say, what is it? The youth is wasted on the young or something like that. Like, that's what I always feel like. You don't ever get those moments back. You don't realize that you're having the time of your life when you're having it.
Yeah.
And you realize that when you get older, it's like, and that music is tied to those moments. And that's the great thing about.
That's a fucking killer quote. All right, Tony. Thank you so much, man.
Well, shit, I might have lost you guys. You there?
No, yeah, we're here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, but definitely, yeah. Let's Danielle, get in touch with me. Let's sort out the date and shit,
Okay.
and
Yeah, for sure. We'll do.
And then I'll reach back out to you guys whenever I start lining up the release of this music. I don't know how we're releasing it, when we're releasing it, but I will let you guys know when it's happening.
Okay, awesome.
All
Love it.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
For you, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you a lot.
Have a good gym
A
session.
new photo. I have some new band photos and shit. So if you need something, let me know.
He has a new band.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah,
What do you-
you're gonna need that.
What was that?
He has a new band.
If you guys need like a new band photo, we have some. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
can
that would
send
be
you.
great.
Because usually we go through the PR.
Yeah,
Okay.
love it.
Just send me an email address, Danielle, when we get the phone, and then I'll shoot you guys over a new band photo.
Okay, yeah, I'll text you my email right now.
Perfect. All right, guys. Good talking to you.
All right, yeah, likewise. Talk to you soon.
All right.